Hey gang, Scott here. A quick video to talk about getting closer to your subject or finding a more intimate composition with your photography. This is something I've been working on personally for the better part of a year. As a landscape photographer, I love my wide angle lenses. I am shooting at 16 to 24 millimeter all the time, but there's a lot more to be had with landscape photography and photography in general with your longer lenses. And I had a couple of examples in recent weeks where they kind of just came together. I figured I'd put together a video for you and share a couple of examples of where getting a tighter, more closer composition improved the photo or created a completely different photo. So let me show you these couple of examples. So this first one I captured out in Zion, in Utah, a couple of months ago, and this is up toward the top of Canyon Point, and this is looking away from the canyon and back to the hills behind you when you're hiking up to this point. And I just took this photo for context because I realized I was breaking out my long lens. I was like, oh, you know what? I want to capture what was really wide because it helps me reinforce looking around at a scene. So this is 24 millimeters, and this is not a very interesting photo, right? This is pretty basic. It's a snapshot. It's an I was here photo. But where my eye was scanning was around like the center of the hills, where you see some of those interesting zigzag lines going on. And the next step was to punch in. So I put on my 100 to 400, went in at 100 millimeter. And again, this is not an interesting photo. It's a very different photo. But the reason I captured this one is where I was like the comparison of I'm getting closer. Because what was really interesting to me is this small area of the photo, this small sweep, like a zigzag of darker toned rock and this one tree. And that's where I punched in on and ended up with this photo and did a little bit of processing on it. But that is a much more interesting photo to me than the original, I just stand there and I look at everything that I had. So when I go back to that original one, that tiny spot that's way out there, that is what became the final photo. And it's one example of where having your longer lens with you when you're doing a landscape shoot is helpful. When I can afford the opportunity, I'm not hiking around too much or I'm not moving around too much. I'll actually bring two tripods and have the one with the wide angle lens if I'm waiting for the light to do something, and then the other one has got the long lens, and I'm just hunting around for other compositions. Now I've got one other example to show you, and this is a case where I had the lens that I had with me and, captured a photo. I liked what it was, but as I got into the post-processing, realizing, the story is not what I captured in the frame. The story is much tighter, and we can simply do that by cropping. Your camera's got a lot of megapixels, and you can, toss away a lot of the extraneous pixels and still have, a very strong image. Let me show you this sequence. So this photo was captured during the Big Sur workshop I just hosted a couple weeks ago. I had an afternoon at the Carmel Mission and walking around the grounds, and there was a group of painters that were working on different aspects, sketching and whatnot. And I really liked this person's, this cape and just how they were nearly centered. And so I had my 24 to 105 lens, my walk-around lens is what I had on the lens. You can see I'm fully at 105. This is as close as I could get from where I was, and I wasn't going to go walk up behind the person and to startle them or things like that. But realized, this photo's nice. I like the photo, but it's not the story. The story's in the center. The story is the person working on prep work for their painting in front of this particular architectural feature. So simply cropped in, got tighter. Said, okay, this is better. You know what? But there's still a lot of extraneous things around. I somewhat like the natural framing with the bushes and so forth. Lighting is really harsh, though. You can see that with all the glare and whatnot coming off. This was, mid-afternoon, so strong light, not very cloudy. Okay, let's get closer one more step. And to me, this is a lot more intriguing. And because the cameras, we have so much resolution, you can see the detail on even her hat. I think it's a her. And and now I realize, oh, it's a jacket, it's not a cape, but the shape of it is really darn cool looking. The way it's framed there. So getting closer by just cropping and tightening in, going from the original, which has its merits, but to the tight cropping, that one is more powerful to me. And maybe there's something in the middle, where I do bring in a little bit of this natural framing. And, that's a wonderful thing about the larger megapixel cameras we have. Mine's about like a 42-ish megapixel camera, so it's not even one of these 60 or 80 megapixel monsters. You've got a lot of resolution that you can tighten in and find different compositions, or just tighten in on one composition. So that's really all I wanted to say about it. Getting closer, there is something to be done for that. Keep your eyes open for that when you're out in the landscape. Don't just be wide all the time, and you'll find some more interesting photos. I hope you enjoyed the video. Any other questions, drop them below. And until next time, my name is Scott Davenport. Have fun.